Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Helsinki for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou. Today we're going to be watching the round 3 match between Chumbeque and BluesEclipse. Chumbeque is playing red-white double Strike-Fect, which is essentially a combo deck which uses 1-drop double strike creatures alongside powerful auras and pump spells to kill the opponent through combat damage as early as turn 3. Meanwhile, BluesEclipse is playing blue-white artifact tempo, which is an interesting mix of like mid-rangey tempo and aggressive artifact synergy cards that comes together to essentially grind its opponent out through a wide board of tokens, stack interaction, and card advantage. So it looks like Chumbeque is on the play but is keeping at 5 without a creature. This is without, like, Chumbeque has 8 1-drops, but if Chumbeque doesn't have one of them in the opening hand, this becomes a lot harder. Meanwhile, Blues is just going to open up turn 1, can Northern Express line, and then can immediately with Veteran Life Forger. Oh no, he's going to self-replication. That works as well. So has 2 power on board. Next turn, can just expand the board with the Veteran Life Forger, and also has Sandscatter's interaction. The Dwemer-bound Spectre is less likely to come into play, I think, but, well, if Blues keeps drawing these rail lines, maybe not. Already has 4 artifacts available, 5 with the Veteran Life Forger. So this Dwemer-bound Spectre will actually just come down next turn as a 5/6 cantripper for 3, which is kind of ridiculous. And if Chumbeque continues to not have a creature, this might just end up being a non-game. Yeah, Chumbeque continues to not hit a creature. And yeah, now Blues can just swing in for 4 with the Veteran Life Forgers and the Constructs, and then can play a Dwemer-bound Spectre for 3. And top decked another one, which means I think like Chumbeque's just going to get run over here. And like the Dwemer-bound Spectre is also just like a good blocker in this matchup. And with Chumbeque still not hitting a creature, Blues is just going to swing in for 9 uncontested, threatens to kill Chumbeque next turn. And like, Chumbeque doesn't have any hasty auras or pump spells, so can't just turbo out a kill on Blues before Blues can kill him. And yeah, Chumbeque is just going to scoop to that. Even though game 1 was really a non-game because of Chumbeque's basically lack of drawing a creature, let's see what both these players can sideboard in. In Blues' case, to lock down this entire set, and in Chumbeque's case, to have a chance to actually play the game in games 2 and 3. So I think if your Blues has like some counter magic, grave hate, wipes, I could see bringing in Remorse maybe, but realistically I think the main thing is Journey's End. Like Journey's End as like another 2-mana shoot a creature spell, even with the Scry 3, is absolutely worth it. I'd imagine like the Spell Stutters come out, and then like one other card, probably like, I would say like a Sparking Automaton or like a Dwemer-bound Spectre, just take out, because you don't really, like, as long as you land a creature in this matchup, you have like a reasonable clock. So I would say 1 Dwemer-bound Spectre, 3 Spell Stutters out for 4 Journey's End. On Chumbeque's end, maybe bring in the Ring of Souls for the Hexproof. I think that's about it that I'd expect from Chumbeque. Chumbeque's main deck is pretty hard to change just based on how synergistic the entire deck is. And Priest of Persecution, Sigil of Radiance, and Nomadic Journey. Nomadic Journey could come in as a pseudo-hasty threat, but I doubt it. I think just the Ring of Souls is my call. Okay, so Chumbeque, keeping it 6 this time, has 2 creatures in the opener, which is much better than last time, and can curve it into a turn 2 Murderlust to swing for 6. Meanwhile, Blues does not have any interaction of his own. He's going to keep at 6, has turn 1 Veteran Life Forger into a turn 2 Union Rail Strikebreaker plus Northern Express line. It's not going to be enough to block and kill a double striker with Murderlust on it. So unless Blues draws into some interaction and fast, this could be a big problem for Blues. Say a turn 1 Balanced Blade, which is matched in kind by turn 1 Veteran Life Forger. Oh, and the Unbreachable Walls from Chumbeque is also really good. Now the question is, does Chumbeque hold up the mana for Unbreachable Walls and then just play like, let's say, a White Petal Ronin? or just goes all in with the Murder Lust and then swings for 6. Well, it looks like Chumbeque is going to go for the latter, plays out the Murder Lust. So whacks Blue down to 12 life. Oh no, Blues is going to chump with the Veteran Life Forger. I was just about to say that puts Blues at a 2-turn clock, but chumping with the Veteran Life Forger makes it so that Blues buys himself another turn. But yeah, still isn't hitting any gas off the top. Has hit a land into effectively another land with the Lumen Bay Flyer line. And Blues' only other creature right now is a Union Drill Strikebreaker. So I feel like Blues is probably going to like play a Sedate Tundra, tap for mana, play Union Drill Strikebreaker, then bounce it to play Lumen Bay Flyer line, Northern Express line, and then get 2 construct tokens. The problem is that, like with the Trample Aura, chumping does very little. And wow, Blues is just gonna concede straight up. I feel like waiting a turn to see if Blues could draw into an answer would have been nice. But yeah, wow. And I think that's just kind of how the games of Double Strike-Fect play out. Win or lose, it's going to be over quick. This is the first game where Chumbeque is not on the play, and that could be significant. The tempo gain that Blues has from being able to go first and then answer Sandscatter before, or answer one of Chumbeque's creatures with Sandscatter before Chumbeque has a chance to swing with it is huge. And wow, Blues on a mull to 5 and doesn't have any interaction, has an aggressive curve of Veteran Life Forger into Sparking Automaton into Nightwatch Rallier, which could be good, or actually probably Sparking Automaton into, or Veteran Life Forger into Sparking Automaton into Brinefleet Bay. A fine curve, but like, I feel like if you're trying to out aggro the Infect deck even on the play, it's gonna be really hard. Especially when Chumbeque is gonna go turn 1 White Petal Ronin, gets to Orchestrate Blessing of Valor using the Orchestrate cost, and then next turn just goes Ethereal Armor, and then swings for 14 on turn 2. Like, yeah, you are not beating that clock, dog. Of course, I guess Chumbeque doesn't have any way to give White Petal Ronin evasion right now in hand, so Blues could just continue to chump with some of these creatures. And oh, Volatile Stonework is actually really good here because it functions as interaction plus a clock. Or, sorry, interaction plus a clock. So, because can play Volatile Stonework, name the White Petal Ronin, chump White Petal Ronin, and then deal 4 damage to it and kill it. Of course, can't do it next turn because Chumbeque is just going to go Ethereal Armor, Blessing of Valor. Or actually, no, Volatile Stonework won't work at all, actually, because Ethereal Armor... I forgot that White Petal Ronin naturally has 2 toughness, so the Ethereal Armors alone will buff it up to a 4/6, and so the Volatile Stonework just won't work. Yeah, never mind. It would have been good if Chumbeque didn't have the auras. Yeah, didn't swing with the Veteran Life Forger. I guess just in case Chumbeque has the Menace aura. But instead, Chumbeque is just going to get hella flooded. 4 lands in hand out of, like, I think a 16 land deck. Oh no, and I think this is a mistake. He's going to grab a mountain off of the Wayfarer Shrine. I genuinely think this is a mistake because Chumbeque can't play 2 Ethereal Armors. Oh no, yeah, this just feels like a big blunder on Chumbeque's part. Because now White Petal Ronin goes up to a 1/3, and then we'll get buffed this turn because of Blessing of Valor, sure. But if Blues has some way to sack the Volatile Stonework, yeah, like, I feel like just this leaves like an opening for Blues to do something with the Volatile Stonework, and it also means that Chumbeque swings for less. And wow, yeah, I guess Chumbeque is just not gonna suit up the White Petal Ronin. So Blues is just gonna run out the Sparking Automaton. This is actually a really good aggressive curve out right now. Blues is having to keep all of them back in fear, but I honestly feel like Blues should be swinging in with the Veteran Life Forger now that he has 2 other creatures on board. Get some damage in! The only way you are winning this game is not through, like, you don't have interaction, so you have to try and out-aggro Chumbeque while you have the chance. Okay, so Chumbeque is going to equip Ethereal Armor, or cast the Orchestrated Blessing of Valor onto White Petal Ronin. He's going to swing in and start essentially chipping away at Blues' board or life total. So swings for 8. Volatile Stonework is going to chump, so White Petal Ronin takes 4 damage. It still survives. Wait, actually, wouldn't White Petal Ronin die with Blessing of Valor when Blessing of Valor wears off? Never mind. But Blues now has the sideboard in Journey's End as interaction, but it is actually one turn too late because of Unbreachable Walls. So I guess is fine with swinging with the Sparking Automatons and stuff, because he's like, oh, now I have interaction. But yeah, Chumbeque just has the Unbreachable Walls to stymie that. So Chumbeque's gonna run out Ethereal Armor number 2. Ronin swings for 8. In response, Blues is going to try and Journey's End, but Chumbeque has the Unbreachable Walls. It's okay though, because Blues has, at least, if Blues sided in all of the Journey's End, should have 6 more removal spells in deck that Blues can hopefully hit. But for now, yeah, it looks like Blues is just going to go full-on aggression probably. I just imagine Self-Replication. Yep, Self-Replication buffs the Sparking Automaton into a 4/4 and can now swing with 6 with both the Sparking Automaton plus a Veteran Life Forger, and the constructs can chump block the White Petal Ronin. Chumbeque really needs a Murder Lust right now. And no, okay, it's just actually going to crew the Brinefleet Bay. I guess that's 1 more damage. And it's only going to swing with the Brinefleet Bay, which is another surprising thing to me. I feel like also swing with the Veteran Life Forger, you guarantee yourself a 2-turn clock. But yeah, Chumbeque is pretty much dead next turn, unless Chumbeque can pull out. I don't know. I don't know how Chumbeque can actually just not die next turn. And a Balanced Blade is not going to do it. Chumbeque just got so wrong-halved this game. The Balanced Blade at least functions as a chump blocker here, so buys Chumbeque a little bit of time. Swings in for 8 again, but this time Blues is just going to chump with one of the construct tokens. Oh, and Blues with the Northern Express line can Veteran Life Forger. Wait, no, what is Blues doing? Okay, so he's going to play that, tap for 1 colorless, bounce it for Northern Express line that buffs the Sparking Automaton. Oh, I guess can replay the Brinefleet Blade because it didn't actually, oh, that's actually so strong because now Blues can play Nightwatch Rallier as well for X = 1. And then can also play the Veteran Life Forger. Yup, so swings out for a total of 13 damage right here. Blues can block the Sparking Automaton, but then still takes 5. Okay, actually, only going to swing for 11, not going to swing with the Construct. And yeah, Blues is just going to chump with the Balanced Blade, but is dead next turn. I don't know what Chumbeque could top deck here that could save him now that Blues has a board. Would even the Trample Aura help? Okay, so the Trample Aura gives +3/+3 normally, so that buffs White Petal Ronin up to 7. Then Ethereal Armors give +1/+1 each, so it'll actually be 9. So we'll be swinging for 18. And if Blues... Oh, no, there's a Murder Lust. The perfect top deck. And as I was saying, even if Blues triple blocks here, can only block 5 damage. And so Blues will take 13 and die here, I think. Yeah. What a top deck from Chumbeque. Yeah, that was... And yeah, Chumbeque said the same thing. Wow, what a top deck. Yeah. Blues had that game. But Lady Luck seems to be on a tear this tournament. Lady Luck just be doing... First, Hersey top decking that crazy roll in her game versus David. Me getting a double turn 2 versus Crush Castles. This crazy top deck. What is Lady Luck on about this tournament? But yeah, good games to both players. But Chumbeque on red-white double Strike-Fect takes it 2-1 over BluesEclipse on blue-white artifact tempo. Until next time, this is Caillou signing off.